Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dig into a topic that's causing some serious headaches for businesses and shoppers alike.
I think we all know the feeling of ordering something online and then, it just doesn't fit right.
Ugh, the worst. Right.
It is. And today we're taking a deep dive into those sizing issues and the surprising impact they have on customer churn.
It's not just about the annoyance of a return, it's about losing customers for good.
Exactly. We're going to be looking at some research from Prime AI. They're specialists in AI-powered sizing solutions, and they did some really interesting analysis of 1 million online returns. Get this, 70% of those returns, 70% were because of incorrect sizing.
Seriously, 70%.
70%.
That is wild. No wonder so many brands are struggling with this.
Right. It's a huge problem, and it often goes beyond just the hassle of sending something back. It really erodes trust.
Oh, for sure. Like, if a brand can't get my size right, why would I trust them with anything else?
Exactly. And once that trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to win those customers back.
It's like that feeling of excitement when you order something online. You know, you're waiting for it to arrive.
Yeah.
And then it shows up, and it's a total fit fail.
Ugh, it's such a letdown. And studies actually show that 55% of consumers will abandon a company after just a few bad experiences like that.
That's more than half.
It is. And it gets even worse. 84%, a whopping 84%, won't come back after just one single negative experience with returns.
Wow. So one bad fit, and you've basically lost that customer.
Pretty much. The article we're looking at today really highlights this with some eye-opening quotes from customer reviews.
Ooh, let's hear some of those.
Okay, so one person said, and I quote, "When 60% of your reviews mention sizing inconsistencies, it's clear that customers are frustrated."
Yeah, I mean, I'd be frustrated too.
Absolutely. It's a clear sign that brands need to pay attention to this issue.
For sure, because these aren't just isolated incidents.
Right, they're not.
This is like a pattern, a systemic problem.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just one brand being a bit off. There are these bigger issues at play, like vanity sizing.
Oh, don't even get me started on vanity sizing. It's like every brand has their own idea of what a size should be.
It's so confusing.
You never know what you're going to get. And then, to make matters worse, you've got companies like Pretty Little Thing, ASOS, the Boohoo Group. They're all shortening return windows and even charging return fees.
Yeah, it makes the whole process even more frustrating.
It's like they're punishing you for their sizing mistakes.
Right. And all of this just contributes to that sense of frustration and distrust.
It's a recipe for customer churn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's where things get interesting. A lot of retailers, they just view returns as a cost of doing business.
Yeah, just an unfortunate part of the game.
But they're missing out on a huge opportunity.
Oh, how so?
Those returns are a gold mine of information.
Wait, are you saying those piles of clothes hold the key to solving this problem?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think of it this way. Return data, it's like a roadmap to understanding what's going wrong.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like, it shows you the patterns in sizing issues, right?
Exactly. And it helps you identify where product information needs to be improved.
So you can actually use those returns to create a better shopping experience.
Precisely. And the impact can be significant. Studies show that retailers who actively use return data to improve sizing, they've seen a 20% decrease in returns within a year.
Wow, 20%. That's huge.
It is, and it's a win-win.
Fewer returns for the company.
Happier customers who are more likely to stick around.
I like it. But how do brands actually put this into practice? How do they translate all those return clothes into actionable insights? Are there specific strategies?
There are, and the article highlights 3 main approaches. The first is what they call predictive AI size finders.
Predictive AI size finders. That sounds fancy. What is that?
It's basically personalized recommendations, but for your body. They take the guesswork out of sizing, using data to guide customers towards the perfect fit.
Ooh, like having a personal stylist, but online.
Exactly. And one example of this is Prime AI's clothing size and fit finder.
So it's like having an algorithm that knows my measurements and helps me find the right size without all the hassle.
Exactly. Prime AI's tool is a great example, but there are other strategies brands are using too.
Oh, cool. What else are they doing?
Another approach is storing customer preferences. So like, imagine a retailer remembering your fit from previous purchases.
Oh, that would be awesome. No more starting from scratch every time I shop.
Right. ASOS actually has a fit assistant that does this. It kind of remembers your past purchases and helps you find similar fits.
Okay. I like that. No more second guessing or scrolling through endless reviews to figure out how a brand's sizing actually runs.
It definitely takes some of the stress out of online shopping.
For sure, for sure. But what about those cases where, like a simple size chart or even past purchases, it just isn't enough? Like, what about those times when you need a really personalized recommendation?
That's where that third strategy comes in, personalized size recommendations.
Okay, so this is even more advanced than just a basic size chart.
Way more advanced. It's using AI to analyze your body measurements, and then it factors in those brand-specific quirks we talked about.
Oh, right, like how some brands run small and some run large.
Exactly. And it even takes customer reviews into account.
Wow, so it's like having a personal stylist that knows my body shape, my style preferences, and even all those little sizing inconsistencies. It can drive you crazy.
Pretty much.
It sounds almost too good to be true. But is it actually working? Are these AI solutions really making a difference in reducing returns and making customers happier?
The evidence definitely suggests they are.
Okay, good.
For example, Amazon has an AI fit tool.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And they've reported some pretty significant reductions in return rates. Like in some cases, they're seeing decreases of up to 50%.
50%. That's amazing.
It really is. It's a huge game changer for the company's bottom line. And of course, it makes the customers happier too.
Absolutely. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
It really feels like AI is revolutionizing the way we shop for clothes online.
It really is.
But I'm curious, are there any downsides to using this technology? Any potential pitfalls that brands need to be aware of before they just jump on the AI bandwagon?
Yeah, that's a great question. And while the potential benefits are really undeniable, it's important to remember that implementing these solutions isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Oh, of course, of course.
Like the specific technology a brand chooses and how they actually integrate it into their existing systems can really impact the results.
So it's not just about buying the fanciest AI software and calling it a day.
Exactly. Brands need to carefully consider their own needs and find the right solution that aligns with their goals and their target audience.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've talked about the customer experience, but let's switch gears for a minute and talk about the financial impact.
Okay, yeah.
Because returns, they're not just an inconvenience, they can really hurt a company's bottom line.
Yeah, for sure. It's a big deal.
So let's get down to brass tacks. How much are returns actually costing businesses?
The numbers are pretty sobering. Returns can eat up to 30% of a product's value.
30%? That's a lot of money.
It is. It really adds up.
Think about all the costs involved. Shipping, restocking, processing those returns. Not to mention all the customer service time spent dealing with frustrated shoppers.
It's a lot.
30%. That really underscores how crucial it is for brands to get this sizing thing right.
Absolutely. And it's not just about those immediate costs either. There's also the long-term impact on customer relationships to consider.
Right, because losing a customer is way more expensive than keeping an existing one happy.
Exactly. Acquiring new customers is actually 5 times more expensive.
5 times.
5 times more expensive than keeping your current customers happy. And in today's world where shoppers have so many options, building that loyalty is absolutely critical.
It's like they say, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right?
Exactly.
So creating a seamless sizing experience, it's not just about cutting costs, it's an investment.
It is. It's about investing in those long-term relationships and building a solid base of loyal customers.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But, beyond the financial impact, there's another important aspect we should talk about.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The environmental cost of all these returns.
That's a really important point. It often gets overlooked, but it's becoming increasingly critical.
You're right. We talk about the environmental impact of fast fashion.
Yeah.
But those returns add a whole other layer of complexity to this sustainability issue.
They do, because every single returned item involves transportation, repackaging, and sometimes even disposal.
Oh, I never really thought about it that way.
And all of that contributes to carbon emissions and generates more waste.
Plus, all the resources that went into making the product in the first place are basically wasted if it ends up in a landfill.
It's a vicious cycle. We buy, we return, and the environment pays the price.
And with so many returns happening every single day, the impact is significant.
It really is. The fashion industry alone generates millions of tons of textile waste every year, and a big chunk of that is directly tied to returns.
Wow, those numbers are alarming. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a serious environmental problem.
It is, and it needs to be addressed.
But what can brands do to make the returns process more sustainable? Are there any strategies that can actually help minimize the environmental impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Thankfully, it seems like brands are starting to realize just how big of an impact those returns have on the environment.
They are, and they're trying to make things more sustainable.
Okay, good. So what are they doing? What are some of the things they're trying?
Well, one thing is they're really focusing on packaging.
Oh, okay, like using less packaging materials.
Yeah, exactly. Using recyclable materials or compostable materials,
Right.
and just reducing the overall bulk of the packaging.
Makes sense.
Some brands are even experimenting with reusable packaging systems, so the customer gets the item and then they can return it in the same packaging.
Oh, wow, that's really cool, like a closed loop system.
Exactly. It cuts down on waste and it promotes a more circular economy. I like it a lot. What else are they doing? Are there any other strategies to reduce that environmental footprint from all those returns?
Another key strategy is optimizing the logistics.
The logistics.
So basically streamlining those delivery routes and consolidating shipments.
Okay.
And really working with providers who prioritize sustainability.
That makes sense. Reducing the carbon footprint from all that transportation back and forth.
Exactly. Every little bit helps.
For sure. For sure. And what about technology? Does technology play a role in all this?
Absolutely. AI and data analytics can help predict demand more accurately.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you reduce overproduction.
Right.
And that ultimately minimizes the need for returns in the first place.
So it's like preventing the problem before it even starts.
Exactly. Get people the right size the first time, and you're already reducing those return-related emissions.
And that's where those AI-powered sizing solutions we talked about earlier come in, right?
Absolutely. It's all about creating a more sustainable and efficient system from beginning to end.
I like it. So we're trying to prevent returns as much as possible. But even with the best efforts, some things are still going to get sent back.
Yeah, inevitably.
So what happens to all those clothes? Do they all end up in landfills?
Thankfully, no, not all of them.
Okay.
There's actually a growing trend towards reselling or repurposing returned items.
So cool.
Some brands have their own outlets or they partner with secondhand retailers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, to give those products a second chance.
Give them a second life instead of just throwing them away.
Exactly. Reduce waste, keep perfectly good items out of landfills.
I love that. What a great solution.
And there are even some companies that specialize in upcycling.
Upcycling, okay.
So they take those returned textiles and they turn them into new materials or completely new products.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's a win-win. It's good for the environment and it's good for businesses that are looking for these innovative ways to manage their returns.
Really cool solutions. It feels like the fashion industry is finally starting to take sustainability seriously.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
But it's not just about the brands, right?
No.
I mean, we as consumers, we have a responsibility here too.
Absolutely. We can definitely make a difference by being more mindful of our shopping habits.
Okay, so what can we do?
Well, just taking a little extra time to consider our needs, check those size charts, read the reviews. Those small things can help us make more informed decisions.
And reduce the likelihood of returns.
Exactly.
So it's about being a more conscious shopper, thinking before we click buy.
Exactly.
And making sure we're not contributing to that whole cycle of returns.
And even if we do need to return something, we can choose those eco-friendly shipping options.
Okay, like what?
Like consolidated shipments or maybe slower delivery methods that have a lower carbon footprint.
Okay, those are good tips. And maybe check the return policies of different brands too.
Definitely. Some companies are more committed to sustainability than others.
Right.
So choosing to support those brands can really make a difference.
It all comes down to making conscious choices.
Really.
And using our purchasing power to encourage brands to do the right thing.
Absolutely. But, as we wrap up our deep dive here, there's one more thing I think we should touch upon.
Okay, what's that?
We've talked a lot about technology and how it's transforming the shopping experience, but what about that human element?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to get caught up in all the cool AI stuff and forget that shopping is still a human experience.
It is. At the end of the day, people want to feel understood and valued, even when they're shopping online.
Right. So how do you balance that? How do brands use technology to enhance that human connection without losing it altogether?
That's the big question. It's about striking that balance because technology is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But it's that human touch that really makes those personalized experiences special.
It's about combining the best of both worlds, the efficiency and the insights of AI with the empathy and understanding that only humans can provide.
Exactly. It's not an either situation. It's about finding that sweet spot where technology and human interaction work together to create something really special.
I like that. So give me an example. How would that work in practice?
Okay, so imagine a customer is browsing online and they're having trouble finding the right size.
Happens all the time.
Right. Instead of just looking at a generic size chart, they could actually connect with a virtual stylist.
Oh, wow.
And that stylist has access to their purchase history, their preferences, maybe even 3D body scan data.
That's next level. It's like having a personal shopper in the digital world.
Exactly. But in this case, that stylist is empowered by technology,
Wow.
so they can provide even more tailored advice and recommendations.
It's not just about finding the right size. It's about building that relationship and fostering a sense of trust.
Absolutely.
So it's all about striking that balance, using technology to streamline things, but also empowering those human stylists and customer service reps to make those real connections.
Exactly. And this approach can be applied to so many different parts of the customer journey.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like those personalized email recommendations or even interactive chatbots that can offer style advice.
Right.
It's about making the entire experience more enjoyable and fulfilling.
Okay, this has been such an eye-opening conversation. We've uncovered the hidden costs of sizing issues, we explored the power of AI, and we even talked about the environmental impacts.
It's been great.
But maybe the most important takeaway is that creating an exceptional shopping experience really comes down to finding that balance between technology and human connection.
It really does. It's about using technology to empower those human interactions that make all the difference.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned something new about sizing, AI, and the importance of sustainability and human connection in the world of retail.
And until next time, happy shopping.